Hello, on the Rockers. Put on your superhero panties. We are chatting with actor Nhut Lee, currently reprising his role as Judomaster in season 2 of HBO's Max hit series Peacemaker, with my co-host, model, musician Steven Dehler, and me, your sassy host with the sassy most. Raise a glass. It's on the rocks.
Thank you for being.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord have mercy, buttons and bows and pantyhose. On the Rocks podcast, a place where we're too glam to give a damn. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, On the Rocks on air, and on Facebook, On the Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email, book me for a pride, wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care, I'll show up. info@ontherocksradioshow.com. Send us your comments, your guest requests, and your guest questions. The show is presented by Straw Hat Media. You can watch and listen to our now over 394 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com for free because we care. You can see us on YouTube, Facebook Watch, on I Love Gay LGBTQ, and Bear World Magazine. All right, let's get the show on the road. Returning to On the Rocks is our veteran pop culture reporter, Steven Dehler. Steven is no stranger to the spotlight, working as a runway and print model who has been seen on Will and Grace, Drag Race, and Todrick Hall videos. As a musician and dancer, he's appeared in Voss events, burlesque shows, and his YouTube videos of him playing shirtless are very, very popular. Please welcome back the Boba Butt with a brain, Steven Dehler. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so we know your model side, your musician side. We don't know your nerdy side. You are a complete nerd.
Well, yeah.
Like comic books,
Well, like,
superhero,
like-
Final Fantasy, that's all your realm.
Yeah. I mean, like I always say, like, I'm a gamer with a Y, you know, and then grew up just playing video games. I mean, I know all things about like Marvel, DC. I don't know. I just love it.
Okay, if you were to cast yourself as a DC superhero, which one would it be?
Because it's changed as I've gotten older. It's like things are
Yeah.
okay, no, I don't know. A DC superhero? I don't know. I have to come back to that one. That's a hard
Maybe
one.
Aquaman, but like old Aquaman, because he was blonde.
Yeah, he was blonde. I guess that would work. Yes, yeah, I guess that would work.
Yeah.
I guess
Going
I
back to basics.
I could do old school Aquaman.
Yeah,
Why not?
all right.
I like to swim.
In vodka. He likes to swim in vodka.
that part. Cheers to that.
Cheers. Okay, well, you know, I'm not much into the superhero world, but
Yeah.
shows like Peacemaker and shows like, or movies like Deadpool, that is my language. Those are the shows I watch on my own, not understanding all of the ins and outs.
Right.
But they're really entertaining, and Peacemaker has become one of HBO's biggest hits.
Yeah, a pivotal show for the entire DC lore.
Yeah, keeping DC alive. You're welcome,
Yep.
James Gunn. That's his idea. Anyway, all right, let's get the show on the road. Let's welcome our guest, best known for his fan favorite role as Judomaster. Lee Sharp, comedic timing, fierce physicality, and scene-stealing presence has helped make Peacemaker Season 1 and Season 2 one of the most streamed superhero shows in HBO Max history. He's back for Season 2 and tops John Cena. Gotta watch out for those short kings. They're power tops in hand-to-hand combat. Drink up. He's like, what did I get myself into? He's trained in intensive martial arts, including judo, Shaolin Wushu, and other forms that have led to stunt work. He's appeared in The Kroll Show and almost gave up acting for pottery. Yes, we're going to talk about it all. Please welcome Nhut Lee.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm like, is he old enough to drink? But that's good. Like, you don't age in Hollywood.
Oh, thank God.
You look the same age for 50 years, right?
Yep, I take very frequent naps and stay out of the sun.
Damn, that's a secret. I need to sleep more.
True. Of course, we're going to talk about Peacemaker. You've been doing the media circuit. You become media's little sweetheart. And I said little. I don't mean little. I mean, you're compact, but I didn't mean it that way. Foot mouth already. Here we go. But you become like the sweetheart media because everybody's like so adorable, which is so weird because your character is so unlikable, but everybody loves him. I think they want to be him.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when people meet me in person. I'm so different than Judomaster. I'm much more soft-spoken and, articulate and Judomaster just sort of brash and such an asshole, you know.
But he's like that likable asshole where like you go, like those sassy one-liners, because he's quiet, but then when he speaks, I mean, it's like damn.
I love it. It was so much fun to play.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the Peacemaker questions, because obviously there's a lot of questions there, I want to talk about you as an actor, as a personality. You're an immigrant born and raised in Vietnam. And not to start off political, because we don't do anything political on the show, but talking about being a proud immigrant has definitely changed. You know, it's been just a fun part of our natural conversation. How many actors have we talked to that are immigrants? But now we're afraid to say immigrant. How has this current climate affected the way you talk about being a proud immigrant?
I was born in Vietnam, and then I came to the States when I was 6, so I grew up in Pennsylvania, and I think back then it was more about survival, you know, so a lot of my childhood was trying to assimilate into American culture. So, you know, I wouldn't bring Vietnamese food into school, and I don't like speak Vietnamese or anything like that. And so it was only going through like adulthood that I realized that one of my superpowers, I guess you can say, is what separates me from everyone else. So capitalizing on the fact that I am Vietnamese and queer, like, you know, those are things that makes me who I am, and to hide that would be doing a disservice to, you know, both communities. And so the prouder I am of myself, I think it's sort of like a linchpin in moving the needle a little forward.
I absolutely love that. I was the only brown kid growing up in my school, and so we didn't do any of the Mexican traditions at all. I mean, I didn't speak Spanish. My mom and grandma spoke fluent Spanish.
Yeah.
But I was told to hide everything just so you could be accepted.
Right.
And here's, you white people. That were besties. I wonder at school if we would have gotten along.
Oh, totally. For sure. Like I said, I was a nerd first.
Oh, thanks. Nerd first.
You're a nerd.
But here's the thing. You didn't come to the U.S., and plus you were 6 years old. How much of the Vietnam lifestyle do you remember? I mean, 6 years old is very young, but it's still those impressionable years.
Yeah, I was lucky enough where we went back to visit Vietnam a lot when I was younger. And I remember when I went to Vietnam, my parents hired a Vietnamese tutor, so I would still remember how to read and write Vietnamese.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was really helpful, and now I can still speak fluently and still read and write.
And here's the thing, your family didn't move into like a big city like New York or Los Angeles. You moved to rural where there's like farms. Was it like Amish land?
We were an hour and a half from Lancaster.
So you had good butter then all the time.
The butter was great. Yeah, great corn, great butter, great eggs. Yeah, I remember growing up in Vietnam. It was such a populated city. I grew up in Ho Chi Minh City. Yeah. And so, like, if you just walk out your street, you see hundreds of people at a time. And then right when I moved to Pennsylvania, it was still pretty rural back then. And so I open my door and I see like woods and like there's a little creek. Like, it was a really nice place to grow up, but it's just so different than Vietnam.
How did you fit in? It's not like somebody from Vietnam is going to fit in with all of these farms. Like, going to school, how did that affect you? You had to be aware of that kind of isolation just based on the way that you looked.
Yeah, I got lucky. I was never really bullied, which is insane because I'm so like tiny. And I think what it was I was such a good student. I was good at, not to toot my own horn, but I was, you know,
go ahead.
Good at like everything.
He can toot his own horn for real.
I need a drink.
He's like, God damn, I'm gonna fire my PR after this.
Yeah, so, you know, I was good at a lot of things. So I was never the butt of any jokes. I was pretty well liked back then. So going like through my childhood, it was a pretty nice upbringing.
Now, when did you start to realize that maybe you weren't like the other boys?
Pretty quickly. Even like throughout this process, although it was like pretty easy, I saw the differences like pretty glaringly, you know, like culturally and just with my queerness, you know, around whatever age that was. It was all the skills that I've used to assimilate when I was younger. I've used that to stay in the closet or, you know, as a self-preservation technique. So I got like, was super funny and, you know, tried to divert conversations and all that kind of stuff, you know. Yeah.
Well, and you grew up in an Asian culture, which we know are very traditional, and then in this rural kind of, you know, countryside.
Yeah.
When did you come out?
I didn't come out until like late high school, college. Yeah, just because in Asian communities, like you weren't even encouraged to even express your emotions, let alone, you know, everything else. So my family, for the majority of it, was pretty supportive, but there are some people in my family who aren't. So it was in those years that it was more about survival than, you know, flourishing.
It's funny how similar in terms of queerness the Asian culture and the Hispanic culture are. You know, it's very traditional, it's very conservative. You don't talk about your feelings at all. You don't talk about your mental health. You don't talk about anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if you say it, people still ignore it. It's like it was never said.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. But the acting bug kind of hit you a little early on, like 4th grade or something. You were asked to audition for a play.
Yeah.
South Pacific?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I was in 4th grade and the high school was doing a production of South Pacific.
Okay, so this makes me laugh for many reasons. I mean, yay for the high school for doing South Pacific. It's one of my favorite Rodgers and Hammerstein classic musical, but there's a lot of Asian influence.
Yeah.
So how did your small white town do this?
So that's what they were trying to do. So originally it was they were trying to do The Sound of Music, but they couldn't rally up enough kids. And at this point they had auditioned me and like I could sing, and so they switched over to South Pacific because they're like, we only found two.
Because of you. Sally High.
So yeah, I did that when I was in 4th grade, and the high school lets out a little bit earlier than elementary school. So I remember them letting me go home early so I can like go up to the high school and rehearse with the high schoolers.
Must have been fun though.
Yeah.
It was so cool. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And yeah, back then it was like I wasn't encouraged to express my emotions freely.
Yeah.
So being on stage, the character was like super happy and like, you know, doing all these things. And I was like, it feels so freeing just being on stage and just, you know, having those emotions. And ever since then, I did like at least one school show or like community theater a year.
Is that when it kind of clicked that, hey, maybe I want to be an actor? Or did that come later? Because I know you were also thinking of becoming a lawyer at one point.
Yeah, it didn't work out until maybe when I was like 16, 17, when I was like deciding what I wanted to do for college. And at this point, I was like hell-bent on going to UPenn for pre-law. And then
Can you imagine what your life would be like right now?
So different. So crazy.
But I can afford the good butter.
Yeah. So at that time, I booked my first PBS TV show.
You were like 16.
I was 16.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, my parents didn't drive me anywhere. So I, like, little old me, like, got on 2 buses. I look
All by
like
yourself.
I'm 12 years old.
Yeah. Well, you still look like that. It's going to serve you well in Hollywood, my friend.
Yeah, so I booked it by myself and then like drove to the shoots.
How did you book it? So you're out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
so to speak. How do you hear about this audition? How do you get the part for a PBS show?
Yeah, when you're like young like that or when you're hungry like that, you do whatever you can.
That is very true.
And so it was like
That is very true.
going on like websites. We had a website in Philadelphia called film.org, and like there would be castings for all of M. Night Shyamalan's movies and stuff like that on there.
Please don't do a film like this.
They always make a profit.
They do. And if Josh Hartnett is in it, I'll do it. Trap 2.
Trapped again.
Darn.
In his pants. Anyway.
So I found it on a website, and then I went to audition and all that kind of stuff. And then I booked it and we shot it, and I got paid for the first time. It was $150 per episode. I'm like, oh my God, money.
You're 16. That's
16,
a lot of money.
yeah. And you're like, and I was like, oh, I can finally like make money doing this. Yeah, let's do this instead. And so I went to an acting conservatory for college. Yeah.
How was that received with your family? Because I was, you know.
Yeah.
Twofold. One, my grandma was like, I'm so happy you didn't decide to be a lawyer, because she doesn't like lawyers. And then the second one was my mom. She is an immigrant, you know, and her parents died when she was young, so she had to support her family. She started working since she was like 8 or 9 years old. And so she was like, if I ever had kids, I would never be the one holding them back from pursuing their dreams. Because even like recently, I have asked her like, what did you want to do when you were younger? She's like, I really didn't have any dreams or aspirations like that. It was more about like supporting my family, you know. So all the success that I am getting now, it's in honor and due to her. So I don't take any of that lightly.
I absolutely love that. And there's that cultural idea of working hard, and you're always working and you're always going after it, and you showing that fortitude at such a young age. Not only did it show your work ethic, but it also showed how much passion you have for acting. Now, at that time when you decided to be an actor, and you look at your role models, we know, like, you know, diversity has only kind of blossomed over maybe the last 5-6 years. When you decided to become an actor, did you look at what was on screen and think, okay, well, I'm going to be relegated to this, or these are the roles I'm going to play, or I'm going to break through a certain barrier? What was your mind thinking, well, what's available to me as an Asian actor?
Right, so I did think about that when I first finished college. I was in Philadelphia, so the natural next step would be New York, right? And so I moved up there, and I was auditioning like off-Broadway, like little theaters here and there, and I realized pretty early on that even at the pinnacle of Broadway, you have Miss Saigon. You know, like what other shows are there for Vietnamese or Asian men?
King and I, South Pacific, and that's it.
Right, that's it. So unless you want to tour that for the rest of your life, of course it's gotten a lot better now, but this was back then. And so I was looking at the breakdowns of things filming in New York and things filming in LA. And at that time, New York had something like maybe 20 film and TV productions going on at once. And LA, it had 90, you know? So I'm like, it just makes sense for me to move to LA.
Well, that's the way things used to be. Now, if it's made in LA, you're like, oh, wow, it's made in LA?
I'm going to be on location.
Now, I have to talk about this move from Pennsylvania to New York. I mean, that takes some balls to decide to do that. And again, you still haven't really had that big city experience. What was your first couple of weeks like in the big city?
I probably chose the worst time to move up there. It was like right before winter had started, and it was New York winters are brutal.
Yeah, they are so.
Yeah. It's no joke.
It's
you
terrible.
walk down the street just at a 45-degree angle.
If you can open the door,
And like I remember renting a little shoebox of a place.
That's what we do when we go to New York.
And I didn't have control of the thermostat. And so it was this tiny room with a huge like radiator in it. And so like the person turned it on, and it would get so hot that I'd open the window, and then it gets so cold. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die here.
Just getting pneumonia.
Yeah. Well, it's like one of those movies, though, where they're like clanging on the radiator.
Yeah.
So when they make a movie of your life, plus you'll probably still be able to play yourself young, middle, and whatever. I'll take the role. But I have to know about some of these early auditions. You know, you go from being in High School Musicals and doing the PBS thing, but auditions in New York are a whole different thing. Do you have any like funny horror stories of early auditions? Because you're still fresh. We all make mistakes on our first professional auditions.
Yeah, I remember auditioning in New York. One of the ones that I went to, like, I walked into the room, and sitting across from me is like this like a shorter guy who does all of the Best Buy commercials, and I'm like, fuck me, I'm not gonna get it. So it was a lot of that early on. And I remember when even I was in Philadelphia, I'd found an agent, and they would submit me to stuff in New York. So I'd take they had a Chinatown bus, and it would take about 2 hours to get there. I'd go on this bus, and then I'd like get on the subway, had to figure all that kind of stuff out.
And figuring that out, people don't realize figuring that out is a nightmare.
It's a lot.
And, you know, people are not as mean as people say that New Yorkers are, but they're also not bending over to help you. And
Right.
they have to get where they're going. So if they knock into you, whatever, nobody cares if you get to your place or not.
Yeah.
Not that they're mean people, but they got their own stuff to do.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It was tough. And like I'd show up to this one audition. It was for a Nerf commercial, you know, the toy Nerf.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, pretend you're throwing a football. I'm like, why don't I just have a football to throw? And so it's like, you know, I'm like, I wasted 3 hours going each way for this. And it was like 2 minutes long, you know.
But you never know what audition will click or what it will lead to something else.
Yeah.
As an actor, you know, you never say no. But sometimes you're like, literally.
Yeah, terrible.
That's
But-
so crazy that they like the whole thing is like Nerf footballs and they didn't give
Have
you
a
one
Nerf!
to
Right,
throw.
like-
What are they afraid it's going to
Guys.
break a window? It's Nerf, for God's sake. So did you have that shift then from, did you go to New York to do musical theater, or you were always minded to do screen stuff?
So all throughout like growing up, I did only like mostly stage stuff
Yeah.
and theater. And I was even trained in theater. We did like Meisner, and my school was mostly for like stage stuff.
Did you like the Meisner technique? If there was a technique that you subscribe to most, what is it?
I like some of the Meisner technique. I think because I grew up as an only child for so long, I have a very active imagination. And I think especially for film and TV, not to knock Meisner, but like sometimes you're acting against a little ball. That little ball isn't gonna react back to you, you know? And it's all about like natural reactions. And so if you're on the 17th take, how much more natural if you're expecting this line to come, you know? So for me, it was reading like Uta Hagen and Adler and all that kind of stuff, like even Ivana Chukbuk, who's across your studio.
Right.
That there are little different techniques that are like little tools that help me now.
How crazy is that Uta Hagen's techniques still work for us today?
Yeah.
Even though our acting style has changed so
She's
much.
great, yeah.
That's insane to me. When I first started doing professional auditions after college, I only got gangster, drug dealer, gangster, this and that. And when I
see
walked
it.
in and I'm like, hi, and they're
Totally.
like,
Right.
yeah.
Like different gang.
Gangster.
The glitter gang.
Literally. Sometimes they won't even, they're like, thank you. And I'm like, what?
That's all we need.
Yeah.
Right.
But you come from a different generation. For your generation, we know diversity still has had it's had to bubble for a little bit. What kind of roles were you being called in for, other than throwing a Nerf ball?
Yeah, especially in the Asian community back then. This was before what was that Asian movie that came out?
Crazy Rich Asians.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes, and it was supposed to change Hollywood. And for that year, all of the award ceremony had a bunch of Asian nominees.
Yeah.
And we were all supposed to get excited. It was supposed to change the whole culture, not just for Asians, but for Latinos and the black folk. Nothing really happened.
So before that, it was even worse. Like that, I think is a marker. It did move the needle a little forward.
A little bit.
But before this, I remember going into auditions, and it was like either like super stereotypical like Asian nerd, or you go the total opposite, like the Blasian ghetto, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like this is what I'm.
Do you have an Asian Amish person? I
Right. I can churn butter. I'm still waiting for that role.
Just do a short film. It's just 5 minutes. Even just turning
Right.
butter.
I'm
Just
like,
staring at the
it's
camera.
performance art.
Just a one-man show just
Yeah.
on stage.
The critics like meeting would eat it up like deep. Yeah.
Deep.
I get it.
The butter was rich.
Can't believe it's not butter.
Salted.
That is funny. But so how did you feel as an actor? You're like, oh, this is...
Yeah, it was rough. So, like for an actor, you sort of latch onto stories where it was like in Glee when Chris Colfer got his role. Like it wasn't that character that they were writing for, but he was so good that they changed that character to him. So for me, it was like, oh, I'm hoping like that's the case, because me as a person, like it's not written anywhere, and people don't know to write it because people don't know that I exist, you know? And so it's nice for roles like Judomaster to come along where it's not very specific in what they're looking for. It can just give you some room to breathe. And if you're good enough at doing that, then, you know, it can evolve and grow to something bigger.
How did you get into martial arts? Was it something you were involved in youth, or when did you really start to study it?
So I always wanted to do martial arts, even as a child. And I asked my mom, and she's like, no, you can't do martial arts. I don't want you beating up people. I'm like, I'm 2 sticks tall. Like, who am I going to beat up?
Plus, it's also about restraint, and it's about...
Right. Yeah. And she's like, no.
But also, where would you find a class with the Amish people? Can you imagine? Brother Joseph over there is going to teach you martial arts.
Right, on the corn stalks.
Yeah. Now the Amish people are going to come after me. They can't watch.
Yeah, so... oh, excuse me. So... I actually started doing martial arts because, like, as an actor, you try to get your foot through the door any way you can. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go through, like, the stunt route and do, like, stunt acting. And I did, like, even, like, improv and, you know, that kind of segue as well. So I studied martial arts for a few years. And at this time, I really wanted to do The Last Airbender. They were holding auditions at that point. So I wanted to... prep myself for that, so I did like all the bow staffs and all that kind of stuff to prep for that audition.
Was it love at first class?
I really liked it. Yeah, it was like, finally a side quest that I can do.
You don't understand what that means. A side quest is it's different from the main quest. He still doesn't get what it means.
Yeah. But you've talked about your career, just like everybody, or every career has had its ups and downs. You know, there were periods of time that you were not getting work. You were standing for Disney at some point.
Yeah.
What was that like? Were you just like, I'm an actor, give me some lines?
It was actually such a great education. I think a lot of actors, or more actors, should try that at least, because at this point, you know, I've never been on a professional set, so being on set, even as background or a stand-in or a photo double or whatever it is, it was a chance to work with a crew, understand all the vocabulary and terminology. And at this point, I was doing multicam, so I was doing that kind of stand-in. So what that is structurally is they'll get a script on like Monday and then do revisions or whatever. Then on Wednesday, they'll put it up. And like all the cameras are set up. And as a stand-in, you walk through and say all the lines that the actors would. So it was like sort of a dress rehearsal before the real thing. And even at points like that, I'm like, yeah, like this is what I want to do. Like, you know, it's unfortunate that I'm one step away from being the person on camera, but it's, you know, training, and I'm honing my skills.
And like you said, it's the best way to learn everything. And I think every actor, like you said, should learn all the different aspects and should be humbled a little bit.
Yeah.
Because as a stand-in, you have to be there for hours and hours without praise. Nobody's saying, can we get you water? Can we do anything? You're just like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Even some of the actors don't even, like...
Right. So now I make it a point, you know, just to be super nice to the stand-ins and background and everyone on crew, because I've been on that other side.
Yeah.
And you really don't want to deal with a diva actor. And we've got super lucky especially on James's sets. Like, everyone is super nice.
I don't think he'd put up with that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into Peacemaker. So for your Peacemaker fans, we're going to get into that. And that's something I wanted to do. I want to get to is the chemistry that you guys have. So we're going to get to that. But I want to talk about pottery.
Yeah.
How the hell did pottery come into your life? And is it true that you almost gave up acting during COVID or whatever to do pottery full time?
Yeah, I went on a date to a Color Me Mine place.
That is such a cute date. I don't know why guys don't do dates like this more
It's
often.
really, it was a
is so
first
cute.
date,
Especially,
too.
That's so cute
Yeah.
because you have to talk to each other.
Yeah.
You see if the other person's creative.
Right.
You can have a few drinks.
And then
before.
at the end, they'll like fire it for you, and you have like a little keepsake.
But you have to go back 2 weeks later.
Yes.
So that could be like the second date, or you're like,
Oh, no.
He'll pick up his.
I'll pick it up
mine.
separately.
Yeah.
It could be like the best or worst first date. 'Cause
Right.
then you have I have to go back.
But I just
Yeah.
think it's so cute and it's so different.
Yeah, it was fun. And then a week after, I signed up for pottery classes.
Wait, did you coordinate that date, or was it your date who did that?
I forget. This was a while ago. I
You're
blocked
being
them out.
coy now. Sip up. Sip up now.
So there was no going back then.
Was there a second date?
We dated for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
Do you still have it?
I still have my little
I was about to
piece.
say.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
And then I, took classes and did that for maybe like 2 or 3 years at this point, and then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And then everything shut down, as you guys know. And I was like, I've given like 10 years of my life doing acting with very little traction. So I think I'm going to maybe move back to Philly and just teach pottery full time.
Oh, was that intense?
Yeah. So it was during the summer I started looking for houses in Philly. I found a place. I was in escrow for it. And then the audition for Peacemaker came. I was like, what? I'm already out the door at this point. I'm like, I'm giving it up. Like,
the universe was like, no,
right.
This is not happening.
And so a week before I'm supposed to sign for my place, I get offered Peacemaker. And when my managers called me, I was like silent for a minute because I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like a week, like.
You're like, I already packed my boxes.
Yeah.
Like,
and I was like, yeah, great. Yeah, I'll take it. In my head, I'm like, what the fuck? You know?
but how does anybody say no to a DC project,
Right.
an HBO Max project, this cast? There's no way you say no.
Yeah, and all I knew back then was it was James Gunn and John Cena was attached.
I mean, just even one of those.
And I was like, great,
okay.
I'm in.
Right.
And so I'm like, yeah, obviously, of course, I have to take it. I've been working, most of my life for this.
You always be like, what if?
Yeah. So I did it, and here we are.
Okay, we're going to dive into Peacemaker, but let's go back to pottery. What is it about pottery that you love so much?
I think it's such a chill hobby, and I think I was speaking to someone else about this who is in the industry. Like as an actor especially, all the things that we create aren't tangible. And so in pottery, you actually have something physical that you can show for it. And I think it's it's sort of like I feel like Voldemort, and like the little pottery pieces are my Horcruxes. And so like when I give them out into the world, like, and people are using it, it's like a little reminder that I'm a part of their life.
Your pieces are so good, by the way.
Thank you.
They're really, really good. Your company is called Three Circle Pottery.
Three Circle Pottery,
And
yeah.
you do custom stuff.
Not
Well, now you're too
anymore,
busy.
yeah. But I used to, yeah.
But it's so good.
Thank you.
It's like, oh yeah, I could see you like owning this and running it.
Yeah. It's I still get to do it now, which is nice.
Except now it's a bit more like meditative,
Yeah.
reflective. It's like your
Right.
quiet time.
It's not about commerce anymore, which is nice.
Yeah. Okay, Peacemaker. Moment everybody's come to. How did this audition come about? What was your first audition?
So the first audition didn't even include me. It was my manager from Bohemia. They submitted my my martial arts reel to John Papsadera, who's the casting office, and they liked that. But this was when I was trying to go for The Last Airbender, so all of that was like with weapons and with bow staff and that kind of stuff. And they were like, this character doesn't do any of the weapons, so do you have any hand-to-hand combat stuff? And I was like, oh. And she had just called me. I'd just gotten out of the dentist. I had my wisdom tooth removed, and so I'm like numb.
Your life is a movie. Your life is like a comedy movie.
Like numb, and she calls me like, yeah, I'll get it done.
Are you
And it's
drunk?
completely out of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I'm on the rocks right now. What do you want from me?
And so I call my best friend. I'm like, hey, drop everything you're doing. Help me like do this thing. So we choreographed it. It is so bad. And like we sent it in. And then I think like 2 days later, they sent sides for Judomaster. And it was the scene where he's flicking the Cheetos at Peacemaker. But at this point, it was an alias. So it wasn't Judomaster. It was Marshall, like the name Marshall, martial artist. And so I sent that in, and then didn't hear back for a few days, and then they called me and they're like, hey, we're setting up a meeting with the fight coordinator because this character is so like fight intensive that he just wants to make sure that you can do it. And so I have my meeting with him, and he's like getting me to do all these moves in the backyard. I'm like, oh my God, this is so weird. I'm not going to get it. And then a week goes by, and I text my manager. I'm like, hey, did you hear anything? She's like, hold on, like, let me give you a call back in 30 minutes. And I'm like, oh, perfect, time for my nap. So I lay down for my nap.
I love how you do this. Do you just like...
Literally, when I'm taking my nap mid-day,
in my coffin,
I literally just lay like this, and then I wake up.
I believe that. I actually believe that.
That's
No
funny.
wrinkle.
But, like, I think Tyra Banks would call that like the model sleep, because it's like, oh, you have to sleep with all your makeup on. You don't want to like mess it up for the next day.
Like night sleep, you know, I'm on my sides, like just very demure, as you will, for my nap. And so then she calls me back, and my agent is also on the phone.
What's your heart and mind doing during this whole time waiting for calls? Like, you're ready for something huge.
I sort of forgot about it, because at this point I was like
Ready to
prepping for
move.
the house, so it was like signing papers and inspection. So my mind was totally not focused on that. So even in the audition process, I'm like, I'm just gonna have fun with it, like if I don't get it, whatever, like I'm
took
moving.
some of the edge off and pressure off.
Yeah, and I spoke to James a few times about it, and he says like it's usually times like that where actors will take off all of the facade and whatever barriers they have up, and just show who they are as a person, and the camera catches that. And it's moments like that you're
Stop
like,
trying so hard,
Yeah.
or over rehearsing, or
Yeah.
I think that's so important.
Yeah. And so they called me and then offered it to me. And
Where were you when you got that offer? You're like, I was in my crib.
I just woke up.
Let me pull the blinds from total darkness. I was in my bedroom. It was right after my nap.
Naps do take? Damn, bro.
I always take a nap every single day.
Really?
Every day. And so they offered it to me, and at that point it was still like an alias. It wasn't Judomaster. It wasn't a superhero.
Even so, you're in a DC project.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then it wasn't until they CC'd me on my fitting. They're like, hey, you're scheduled for a fitting for this time. And I was CC'd, so I looked down in the email, and it said, we found Judomaster. And I was like, who the hell's Judomaster? So I Googled him, and I was like, oh my God, he's a superhero. And then when I did the fitting, it was in the 3D scan with like the thousands of cameras. And so it was skin tight, because like that
has to be unnerving too. I mean, you're a fit guy, you're used to fitness and all that, but that still has to be so unnerving that every inch of your body's being scanned.
Yeah, and at that point I didn't know it, that's what the costume looked like. It was after, when I did my second fitting, I went to this costume workshop, and they had the mock-up, and then I tried it on, and it was like so tight because it was like newly tailored.
That's a superhero costume.
Superhero. I'm like, oh my God, I need to start working out.
Suck it in.
Yeah.
Now, you had watched like Teen Titans growing up and things like that. I think you talked in another interview, you'd watched some of the Superman stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But how knowledgeable were you of the DC world?
Just from like the cartoons. I didn't collect the comics or anything, but I did do like Teen Titans and Justice Leagues and stuff like that, and like Batman Beyond. And
Judomaster doesn't have a lot of stuff to go on.
Yeah, when I booked it, I bought his comic book, and I read through all of that, and then I got the scripts, and I'm like, there's no backstory. So
No.
I had to focus just on the script, and that acted as my Bible rather than like his backstory.
I have to tell you that scene with you and John where you're eating the Cheetos and you're throwing it at him. James is a brilliant visionary, because that scene, it's like David and Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
We see you're compact in stature. We don't know who really you are. We don't know your superpowers. Then you have John Cena, who's huge.
Yeah.
Then you have the character Peacemaker, who's huge, who is known for this. And then just that little flick, you have all the power in that scene.
Yeah.
It's such a turn of events, and even if you're looking at it from a superhero point of view, or an actor point of view, or just an audience point of view, the power play there is so unique.
Yeah.
And the size difference, I see exactly why they cast you together. And even though you might be, more compact than Peacemaker, there's just this energy, and it's just like you can be whoever, and you can have this power.
Yeah, and I love the writing in that way because, in real life, I could never, ever. But because he is someone who's so confident in his skills, like he can go head to head with anyone. Like he doesn't care if you're 3 times his size. He's still going to kick your ass, And
talk down to you and be sassy the whole time.
It's amazing. Like it was so fun to play because I'm not like that as a person. So to be able to do that and just tap into like that confidence, it sort of made me stand more firmly on both feet. You know what I mean? As opposed to like trying to elevate myself and be on my tippy toes and be something that I'm not. Just owning who I am. I think it's been a nice experience.
I love that. And I think James must have loved the fact that not only did you bring the physical martial, but then you did the acting part. Like, okay, so let's talk about this costume. We actually have some video of them putting you in this costume. How long did it take from you from like start to finish?
So I start in my trailer and I put in an underlayer.
That whole black thing, which
black
looks
one, yeah.
So tight. How did you breathe?
So tight. And then I put on the green layer, then my boots, and then strap on the cowl. And the cowl is like so claustrophobic because my ears are pinned back. Everything is muffled. And then I put on the belt, and the belt might be the worst part because it's sort of like a corset.
Right.
And it's like cinched in.
Were you able to eat like lunch and all of that? No carbohydrate drinks.
It would show if I like ate a little bit more. So I, had to be mindful of that kind of stuff.
Liquid diets.
Liquid diets. Yeah.
And then you had to wear this costume under another costume. I'm not going to give any spoilers for season 2, but you have to wear another costume on top of that, and there you are, true to form. But your attitude during this whole like process just seems so positive.
Yeah, like it's not comfortable. It's the most uncomfortable thing ever. But I'm not going to complain. I'm working with James Gunn, with some of the best cast and crew, and I've worked all my life to do this. And so, this is one thing. I remember it was especially bad during season 1. Excuse me. It was especially bad during...
So polite, by the way. Most of our guys are like, I'm not going to say,
fuck this.
But in season 1, we were doing it during COVID, and so I had that full getup on, and I had to wear a mask over it. And of course, my ears are pinned back. Yeah. So they made a contraption so that the mask would stay on. So all that was exposed were my eyes. It was so terrible. It was, I had to like take moments where I just like had deep breaths because otherwise I would freak out.
It's claustrophobic.
Yeah.
But there's also
anxiety-inducing.
There's also the other element that the other actors are next to each other and they're like just making little inside jokes. Inside jokes makes a bond.
Yeah.
Number one, you can't be seen. People don't really associate like a human being under there. Number two, you can't hear the little jokes. You're like, what are you guys saying over there? Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so this leads me into my next question. To say that there are big names attached to Peacemaker is an understatement. Even for season 2, they bring in more. John said, and we know, is a huge star, James Gunn, Daniel Brooks, Robert Patrick, Freddie Stroma from Harry Potter. As an actor, how did you keep your nerves down by entering the situation? Because you're fairly fresh to the industry. As an actor, you want to be under the radar. You don't want to try to over-impress, be annoying, but you also want to make an impression. You also want to do your job, but then your heart is like, right. I'm literally sitting next to John or James Gunn is giving me direction right now. As an actor, how do you deal with all of that? So I've on set, I've never suffered from imposter syndrome, which it's not like an ego thing or, I think it's from all those years of doing stand-in work and background that I know how to operate on a set. And I know I'm there for a reason. They cast me for a reason. And I'm confident in my acting abilities, even back then, that I was never really nervous, even meeting like some of the top people in the industry.
just because I think I can do it. You know, like I've trained all my life for this point, and I'm not gonna choke by like, oh my god, I'm gonna fangirl out over Robert Patrick. I did behind the scenes, but yeah.
We're talking about Robert Patrick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
iconic. You know, but on set, I'm there like everyone else.
How many Cheetos did you eat during season 2?
So many. Yeah, there was one day I had so many that my teeth were red. Red.
You didn't spit them out?
No, just because like they're so small. So when this
Plus the crunch and like all of that.
the crunch,
It plays with your lines. It's like
yeah,
it's, part of
like
the
if I
pattern.
don't have a Cheeto in my mouth, my
Yeah.
lines sound weird without it.
And I was gonna say something with the tight outfit. Your scenes with John are very close. I'd be afraid of like, but you guys built such a good chemistry. I could see it from all the behind the scenes footage, the posts that you and Danielle Brooks took some really cute pictures together. How did you build that chemistry in such a in such a short time? Was it the behind the scenes moments? Was it getting ready in the trailer? Like that chemistry is really good with that huge ensemble.
Yeah.
It's a big ensemble.
It's a big cast.
Yeah.
I think maybe for a few different reasons. For season 1, everyone was in COVID, so we weren't encouraged to hang out.
Right.
So no one hung out outside of set. And then for season 2, obviously that wasn't there, so everyone like hung out. And I think because the show was so fun to do, and like even in between the takes, like we're just like making fun of each other and just laughing, and then outside of set when we're on days we weren't working, we just hang out, and I think all that kind of chemistry just sort of bleeds through. And so it's like getting to hang out with your friends for 10 hours a day, and then through the intervals, like there's a camera on you and you say your lines and then they cut and you're like, okay, anyway, so blah blah blah, you know.
Do you watch the show as it happens, or do you get did you get the show ahead of time?
We did like a companion podcast,
Yeah.
and so I got to see some of the episodes like through that. But otherwise, I'm watching just as a fan, and it's nice that everyone is so good that I don't see myself in Judomaster. He's just like a separate thing
Part
that I
of
can
the
just
quilt.
appreciate. Yeah.
But I have to ask, that immigrant boy from Pennsylvania, seeing yourself in costume in a DC universe for the first time that you saw it on a professional screen.
Yeah.
Like, how did that feel?
It was like really unbelievable. Like I still don't think about like the magnitude of what that statement is. And it's like little moments throughout my life that I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a pretty big show and I play superhero. And even when people like come up to me and ask me
You
about
have
it,
action figures. I mean,
yeah,
that's insane
So
to me.
crazy.
Action figures?
I have some of them. Yeah.
I mean,
He goes home and it's like awful. Like, he goes on a date. He's like, "Welcome to my house." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay."
pan to an entire wall.
spotlight, just Judomaster.
Yeah, I have like one or two.
But there are cutouts of you at the Comic Cons. There's a Funko. I mean, there's everything.
Yeah,
That has to be
it's so
surreal.
it's surreal, and I try not to think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I just love acting so much that like whenever I'm on set and I get to do characters, I'm like, this is me making it. You know, I like all the accolades and or whatever, and they're great. And I hope those kinds of things are in service to me getting another opportunity to act.
So we talk very openly about acting, and actor's life is up and down, and it's tough. As an actor, you're on the media circuit and you have this hit show. That doesn't necessarily mean that your bank account is through the roof. It doesn't necessarily mean your future roles are insured. It doesn't mean that you're getting paid to do this media circuit or these appearances, even though it's like, oh, he's made it now. The reality is it's like, okay, what's next? What's next? How do you deal with that pressure as an actor? Have the roles that you've been auditioning for lately, have they changed based on this new kind of spotlight?
Yeah, I think the roles that are coming across now, they're fun because they're a lot of them are action based, so like a lot of assassins and that kind of stuff, which I think is so fun for me to do.
Or martial arts stuff.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
great.
it could be anything, like James Bond,
Yeah.
Mission,
Oh, yeah.
like everything
Yeah.
like that.
And then I also get like the queer oriented stuff. So like,
Do you? I was going to ask about that.
yeah, so it's been nice. Yeah, the projects have been pretty interesting.
We need, I think, a queer martial arts film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan, but gay.
Yes.
Why not?
Why yes?
You could lead the whole thing.
Yeah, why not?
So let's talk about this queerness. Peacemaker is very queer, the show. He's bisexual. Season 2 didn't even throw any punches, but it's not done with pomp and circumstance. It's like, here's our bisexual scene. It was just like, it's part of the narrative.
It's his character.
Yeah, Daniel Brooks' character is queer. In one of the episodes, we hear Judomaster talk about queer, but it was done in such a way.
Right.
Right? P.S. That pool scene of yours, iconic.
So fun.
Iconic. You're like, I don't give a damn. So the show is very queer without having to be queer. And I think that's what the future of Hollywood should be, is like, we don't need to come in with a marching band. This is a queer thing. Queer themes here, queer themes there. Many actors and actors that we've talked to that come on the show, usually their headlines in media is like, bisexual actors and weapons, or gay actors and this. Your headlines don't read that. How do you feel about that? Because it's a double-edged sword.
Right.
We want representation, but we also, I'm an actor, I'm a person, I have all this other stuff too. How do you feel about that? You've done Out magazine interviews and all that, but it's still, the headline doesn't read queer actor is in Peacemaker 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I sort of, I love that, you know. I think just like with anything, it's a spectrum of, we do have the outer limits of queer, you know, whatever, and then you have the other side of like, oh, he's also doing this. So there's all that in between, however you want to categorize it. I think there's, for me in my personal life, like, being queer is just like such a tiny sliver of who I am as a person, and I don't want that to identify everything that I do, you know, every interaction that I have. Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, hi, I'm gay. Like, why does that matter? Like, you're at a McDonald's.
It's like, as if you
Well, a gay wouldn't be seen at McDonald's, though. They'd be like, no.
Like, I'm gay, I'm not eating a lot.
I'm not at McDonald's, it's not me.
Cup of ice, please.
You're a silent assassin. You come up with those one-liners like, yeah.
They sneak up on you.
Yeah. But do you feel the pressure as an immigrant, as a queer actor, to start taking a stance or using your platform? I mean, obviously the spotlight has, your social media has exploded. Do you feel this kind of pressure to have to start getting involved?
I think there are actors who, you know, love getting on the soapbox, and great for them. I'm more introverted person normally, and so I think I like to lead through example. So whatever I am, if that jives with you, great. Here is a positive example of what this could look like. If you're someone who wants to advocate, like, be the leader of the gay parade, like, go for it, you know, like, the world needs that as well. I'm just not that person, and so I can only do what I think is right through how I am as a person.
You created a series called Gay Gardens based on Grey Gardens. Number one, how does a young punk know about Grey Gardens?
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with Grey Gardens.
No, you don't understand.
Obsessed with Grey
you
Gardens.
Don't understand. You don't understand.
Oh my gosh, it's like the documentary. I saw that first, and then they did the HBO
how were you
series.
exposed to that documentary?
I went to an art school.
Oh,
so
He's like,
that's like day one. We're watching a movie. It's Grey Gardens.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like so interesting. Like, characters like that exist in the world, you know. And so when I created Gay Gardens, I'm like, what if we just transpose that to West Hollywood? And I love doing that series. I think I took it down from YouTube, so you can't watch it anymore.
No, you can't, because I looked for it. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see this. I was like,
no.
Mother doesn't want me to have it
Mother. This is the best costume for today.
Yeah. Okay, I said that. I was like, did you know in season 1 that you'd be returning for season 2?
No idea.
And you probably can't talk about if you know about season 3.
I have no idea.
I don't believe that. I believe the first one.
Well, I just
Okay.
got, well, 'cause I was telling you earlier, I just got because James Gunn did post that there's no current plans for a season 3. But I think what that
Oh,
means.
come on, with the ratings and all that.
But what I think what that means is they could go through like, Marvel has like a WandaVision trilogy, but it's WandaVision, and then it goes into Agatha, and then now into Vision Quest. It could be the same your characters, but it'll just be a different name of a TV show.
I wanted to watch an office-type documentary series about them in that office.
That would be fun.
And they look at the camera, and it's so
Yeah,
real.
I
That
would
could
watch
be another
that.
Breaking the
dimension.
fourth wall all the time. That would be funny.
I would watch that.
Call James right now. Let's get one figure. But wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah, that'd
Even
be
if it was
funny.
just like a one episode
Yeah.
off. Where it was like, yeah, okay. So you've been doing the convention circuit. You've been meeting fans. We know so I'm a huge Star Trek fan. That's like my thing. Going to the conventions, you meet fans that are like fierce. How has that been for you? Because that's a lot. Good and bad.
Good and bad, yeah.
Yeah.
So as an introverted person, those days
You are very quiet and very polite.
very different than Judomaster.
Yeah.
It's the butter.
It calms you down. Unsalted, please.
The Amish are coming for you.
It'll take them a few years on their little
Yeah,
wagon.
right.
Oh my God, we're pissing off.
Oh my god. It's getting worse.
Rough.
Sorry.
Yeah, so those convention days are very tiring, just
Yeah.
because it takes a lot of energy. But
And you have to play yourself, so to speak.
yeah, what's nice is you get to meet really cool fans, and they're someone who enjoys the show so much, and they want to share that with someone. And I've been on the other side as a fan, so I totally understand that.
Plus, you're a role model for how many types of people as a young actor trying to make it. As an Asian actor, as a queer actor, there's so many people that you're inspiring.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
How has the role affected your dating life? Because you go to your social media, there's nothing there.
The DMs are crazy.
Hey, are you on the apps?
Crazy.
Have another sip. You have one last sip in there.
But what's wild is a lot of straight guys will slide in there, and they're
Why
like,
did you do this? Slide into
I don't know
DMs,
why I
not
did
your
that.
pants, right?
I can't
Well, that's
drink
what
anymore.
they want to do.
Well, straight. Now we know fluidity. Hello.
Right.
Straight curious.
And you
is
know what?
we call them, I
Yeah,
guess.
but that's a very interesting comment because we think the superhero world is very straight, fan base, very macho, whatever. But there's a queer quotient there. But now straight men are being able to see John Cena play a bisexual with no problem. They start to reflect on their own feelings. Nobody is exactly one thing or another. That just does not exist.
Kinsey
Right.
scale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's totally fine.
So you're letting straight men explore their Cheeto fantasies.
They can do whatever they want.
You're like, if you have to be the facilitator of that, then
I can only do what's right
What's
to
in your
me.
power?
But that must be interesting though. You log in, you're like, oh, hello.
So the crazy thing is I got a PR person recently. JT's amazing.
Amazing. He sends us the most dynamic people, and we love him.
Yeah, and so before season 2, I had something like 28,000, and practically overnight I get 50,000 or something. So
That's scary though too.
before I would try to answer all the comments and stuff, and now it's just
It's a little overwhelming,
so
yeah.
much that I'm exhausted, because with all the interviews and following up on reposting stuff and collabing, I'm on my phone so much. And the week when episode 7 came out especially, I was barely getting any sleep. It was just so much anxiety and stress.
Wow.
So yeah, there's that kind of stuff that you have to deal with.
So how are you dealing with that anxiety and that stress?
Now it's a little bit better, but for a while it was peak fight or flight mode. And now that the show's all aired, my social media responsibilities have gone down somewhat, so it's been a little bit better.
You still don't talk about the love and dating. So you're getting DMs. have you been going on more pottery dates, or you're fine? Or what's happening?
Pottery dates is wild.
I just love it. I envision you like in Ghost the movie, and you're there with your pottery.
Oh my God, yeah. So that was the thing we
yeah.
were talking about pottery. I was like,
Yeah.
do you like that movie?
I watched that movie for the first time like a few months ago.
Oh, you're young.
And I'm like, there's a lot less pottery than I'm led to expect. There's that
That's an
one
iconic scene. Everybody knows that scene.
Right.
It's been in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been good.
You still avoided the question. Are you going on more dates? Are you dating? Like, what's happening?
You know,
No, I don't know. That's why I asked.
I'm looking at the clock and we are at officially 1 hour, so my obligations are done. Oh, I just noticed your shirt, by the way.
Oh, right. Buffy.
Love it.
Reboot.
Yes.
What kind of legacy do you want to build with your work? When you look at what future roles you want to take and you think about your whole career ahead of you, what is it that you want to leave behind?
I think that kind of stuff is maybe for other people to decide, you know, how they perceive me as a person or as a media entity. But for me in my personal life, you know, if it's like petting a dog or, you know, just like little things here and there, if I can bring a little kindness into the world, I think that is totally enough for me. I don't need to have a statue made of me, like so yeah, I think it's a lot less grand as an actor in like awards and accolades and stuff like that, but I think if people just remember me as like being a kind, nice person who they've had good interactions with, I'm happy with that.
All right. Like I said, you've been doing the media circuit so much. Is there something that people never ask you that you're like, why don't we talk about this sometime?
No. Sometimes they ask me too much.
Alexander.
He's giving me the side eye. He's like, look at the time.
No.
But there's also the interviews they're doing. They ask the same questions over and over.
Right.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, no, all the questions have been, you know, really good and really insightful. So I appreciate it.
And what does your family think? Are they watching the show week to week? Well,
Some
no,
of
the
my
whole series
family,
is-
yeah. Like the others, it's either like too violent or like, you know, not peachy for them.
Yeah,
So they
it's
don't watch
not
it.
PG.
But yeah, the other people who do watch it, they love it and they're really supportive.
All right. Well, what a great conversation.
Yeah.
It's so funny to put a personality without, you know, the costume, and to know that you're in Los Angeles and that you'll be joining us in West Hollywood one of these days.
Do you ever get to keep like one of the costumes for yourself just to have to like do like
Oh yeah, what have you
like
taken
press
from the
circuits
set?
or anything like that? Or
Those costumes are like hundreds of thousands
that's
of
what?
dollars.
Yeah, I mean,
And they
yeah.
like snap it for me right when you're done.
Immediately, yeah.
Yeah.
So like John having the costume like on press tours or interviews, like the studio's like, we don't like you doing that.
Yeah, that's
and you know,
crazy.
he's John Cena, he can do whatever
Right.
he wants. But yeah, I don't have the costume.
All right.
Someday.
All right. Now, where can people find and follow you?
They can find me on Instagram at itsnhuttle, ITSNHUTLE.
And your pottery.
Oh, my pottery is 3 Circle Pottery. Also on Instagram, 3 like the number 3, and then Circle Pottery.
And take a look. It's so great.
Thank you.
I want to do a commission, but you're too busy.
Maybe when you're watching Ghost sometime.
You know what? Come over. We'll do a ghost session.
Let's do your own session.
Well, drunk down James Gunn. Hey, did you know? Do The Office as a Peacemaker.
Oh
Shoot
my
up.
God.
Oh my God, he would.
He would hate you.
Yeah, I think he would hit me.
Yeah.
But I love that he does the podcast. I love that.
Yeah.
The companion podcast he leads because you see how excited he is about
Yeah.
his own work.
Yeah.
And I just love that. I absolutely love that. And I love to see the cast members. It's just like an affection show, really.
Yeah, like everyone on the cast, so like we love each other. It's a family, and so when we heard that Peacemaker season 3 isn't, you know, happening per se, we were all a little sad and bummed out.
Well, the ratings stuff. We're going to get some news. They like some drama.
Like I said, it could just be a different name. Who knows what it'll be.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Judomaster. Okay. Steven, where can people find and follow you?
You can find me at only Steven Dehler on Instagram, and then Steven Dehler at other.
Well, that's all, folks. It's always a grab bag of fun here on The Rocks. Big thank you to Xavier, our engineer. Please like, share, subscribe so we can continue bringing the show for you for free. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, stay sexy, and if you drink, stay tipsy.
This has been another episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioShow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.